Good morning to day 368. Yesterday we didn't film, we did upload, but we didn't film. Before I start, obviously give me some love down below. Any likes and comments would be greatly appreciated as always. It is 10 o'clock. We've already been working a couple of hours. I just forgot to film. As you can see, we're just leveling off the back. We want to try and get the weed sheets down today to stop the weeds that we pulled up coming back with a vengeance. Probably not the right thing to be doing. Sticking weed sheet straight down on top of soil is probably not the most cleverest thing to do. But until we decide what we want to do on the actual the back part, you know, whether it's astroturf or grass or some form of grass equivalent, we just want to obviously try and stop the weeds from growing back through. So it took us over a week to get that done. So any ideas as to what we can put down to try and stop this from happening, ideally before we put the weed sheet down, please let me know. But I would have thought the only thing we can do is put some form of weed killer down and leave it as it is for now. That would stop the weeds from going, but obviously then you've got the toxins and the children, and so I'd rather not if I can help it. The weed sheet's quite expensive, so I also need to make sure I can get that down and it stays down. I don't want to use rocks, which is what we'd probably be advised to do. So I need to try and find some form of industrial tent pegs, you know, the big staples. I'm sure they do them in Coinman, so I'm gonna have to nip down there later on and get the actual smooth concrete board for underneath the garage lip. But anyway, so manually with a rake, because the Bobcat man never arrived, we've just leveled it as best we can. We say best we can, just a quick job, just to try and take some of the bulbs out. You know, when I say bulbs, the big bulbous hills. So it is looking a bit better. It's still nowhere near perfect, that's for sure. But it'll be good enough, and then we'll roll the roller over it and get the sheets down and see what happens. I'll show you the front of the garage as well as the new paint that we're potentially going to be selecting. Oh, wind. Gorgeous. Sorry about the noise. So obviously we left it yesterday, in as much as the inside has been boarded up, so we took the outside coating off and put the inside up, and we've obviously filled the drill holes and the seams ready for sanding and painting, but there's no point doing that until we get the underneath done. Now I've run out of smooth. That's a lie. Sherman unfortunately cut the smooth too short that we actually had, so now we have to go and buy a new sheet. So do I patch it together and fill it and sand it and make it look good, knowing that underneath there's filler and it could crack at some stage? Or do I go and buy a new sheet of smooth concrete board and put it up? I do have a spare sheet of the construction board, concrete board, this stuff. So probably better off to do that underneath and then fill it and sand it, I would say, because it's not smooth and we don't want to be plaster underneath. So the aim at the moment is to physically go with the 9.5 inches, which is what that is. The column here is 9.5 inches there. Then it goes down to 9 inches all the way down until this column. So what we want to try and do is put concrete board. I'll show you underneath here. We want to put the concrete board the same width as the column to ensure that the plaster can come down to that lip. So you can see that little lip here. That's about 1.5 inches, 1.25 inches. So the mortar will be able to come down to that, and that will also save us returning the plaster underneath. If you return it underneath, you're meant to have high rib. Because of the area, the salt, the wind, high rib will rust and come through and blow at some stage. So if I concrete board underneath and plaster down to the board, then that will stop us having to do the return underneath. So obviously we have to seal it with some form of PVA mix to ensure that the plaster doesn't lose its moisture and crack and fall off within a couple of months. So that's one thing we're going to be doing. Anyone that's got any advice on that, please let me know below. And obviously whilst you're at it, please give me the like and subscribe. This is where I'm sort of trying to educate myself, or I can potentially pass on that education to you. But at the same time, every time I hit a hurdle like this, it's good to find out what you guys think. The downside is, if I'm lucky, I'll get to upload tonight. You might respond tomorrow. By then, I've probably done the job. So it's been a bit of a vicious circle, in as much as sometimes I really need some advice and some help, or at least a sounding board. But obviously the videos aren't live, which means I don't get the information until sometimes after I've dealt with it. Yesterday I bought all the paints. We've got the Sherwin Super White, which is an inside and outside paint, and it's a primer and paint in one. It's bloody expensive, but it is good stuff. So once we finish, we'll literally do the whole front wall, which is this return up, across, and back down again. And we'll also do the columns inside, and we'll do the inside up and across as well. We won't do the rest. We're just going to go corner to corner to ensure we don't get a mixture of white. We've also bought the paint yesterday. Want to change the colour of the house, and initially we went with these two colours. This one is called Unusual Green, I think it's called, and this one is actually called Retreat, but it's too dark. So I went and bought another one yesterday, and that's the grey green I'm looking for. It's not green and it's not grey. If it looks green, not enough grey, it's too green. If it's grey, not enough green, it's too grey. So I had to find one that's in between. So it's a complement of this shade. I can't remember what it's called, something fog. Might be called green fog or something like that, something fog. But anyway, we put it on there as well, and as you can see, it's a nice colour. Once that grey's gone, it really will look like a greeny grey, which is the exact colour I'm looking for. Now, the question is, do I do all of the house, including the guard wall? Do I just do the guard wall and do the house in a different colour? So this grey is absolutely gorgeous. So I'm thinking about going with that grey in the middle for the house and that for the guard wall. So give me some comments below. Let me know what you think. Obviously, until it's done, we're not going to know. But as you can see, the grey green looks gorgeous on the actual house. And the grey, I think, is going to be a bit too dark for the guard wall. So I would say probably, I mean, we could do all of it in the one colour, but I think it might be worth looking at doing the grey on the bottom of the house for now and see what it looks like. And then the guard wall in the green. And if it doesn't look right, then we'll go over that with the same green and change it to one colour. But I think it might be nice to have, we're going to be staining here. So again, we bought the stain yesterday and we did a quick test yesterday because it's a different type of stain. So we've done a test bed here this morning, and that looks absolutely awesome. It's got a slight shine to it by the looks of it. That's probably the difference. So that one's quite a matte. The one we bought originally from Sherwin-Williams was like in a purple tin, and they haven't got that in stock at the moment. So that's quite a matte colour. This one's got a shine to it. So it was called Enamel Driveway, if I remember rightly. So it's designed for driveways. So eventually, once we've actually got the garage door in and we've got it all painted, then we're going to do this in that grey, which is the same colour as the steps. The house will obviously be in the green, which will be nice. And then yesterday I went to Exotic Woods. Big hi to Glenn. Glenn, thanks for your time yesterday. Hope you got my email last night. He's recommended an outside wood, and he's also going to plane it down to me. It's 2 inches in plank by about 6 inches. He's going to give me a quote to plane that down into probably half, if not 3/4 inch widths by 1 3/4 inches wide. And like I said to you in the big videos before, I want to batten all of this, and I want to literally I want to wood slap the whole front of this garage all the way along. And I've also got a quote from Dion. Dion, I will be chasing up your references today and coming back to you about that. So fingers crossed. Dion's quoted me to do an aluminium frame, 20-foot frame to go in here with a cross member going across and a couple of downrights. And obviously what I want to do is cut them. It's going to be 4 foot high. Again, I want Glenn to cut these 4 foot in length, and I'm literally going to attach that all the way along here. And I'm going to do the same with the gate there as well. So those two will be clad in a nice outside cedar type wood. There's a wood that he recommended, and I can't remember what it's called, guys. It begins with S. You guys might know what it's called. And I also want to match that. I want to do all of that all the way across this 5 foot piece here and all the way across there as well. Now, he's recommended not to do the 13 foot length, obviously because of the bow. So he said about maybe doing 9 foot and then a 4 foot. So, and then stagger that all the way along. So you obviously got a 9 foot with a 4 foot and then a 9 foot and a 4 foot and so on and so forth. So he's going to quote me for that. And at the same time, the other thing I've been doing, obviously we've got to finish that today. So that's going to be my aim after we've done the weed sheet at the back. And by the way, I'm prioritising the weed sheet just because it keeps raining. And I just want to get it rolled and covered because the weeds are starting to come through already. And we don't want that. Now the other thing I'm going to do with the wood, a bit of an idea I had last night, is I'm actually going to do these bits. So I'm going to do that in the wood slats, and I'm going to do that in the wood slats, and I'm going to do the same on the other side, so to bring a little bit of life into the patio. So wood effect there, wood effect here on both sides, and wood effect on that side. Floor to ceiling, again, inch to 1 3/4 inches with about a 3/8 gap all the way to the very inside of the doors. I think that'll look absolutely gorgeous. So I'm going to do those. And I'm also thinking about doing something on here as well. So again, that plastic box green, I think they call it. It's just sheets of plastic. It looks like moss stroke plant. And they do them in sheets of like 24 inches by 12 inches. So I'm thinking about maybe doing this piece here all the way to the top, or I'm thinking about doing that bit there. I just want to add a bit of green to it. So any thoughts and any ideas and any samples, let me know. There is a new place, I think it's the old Banks building down in Wildy, just up from Carter's. There's a new furniture shop that's just opened in there. What's it, furniture? It does all sorts, does odds and sods. And in there they do have some fake plants and fake roses and stuff, and they have those sheets in there as well. So I think about doing that. So, you know, some form of feature on there, and eventually we'll get the grass onto the patio, and we'll build the 10-foot pergola, which will be roughly 27 foot long by 18 foot wide, and that will give us somewhere to sit and enjoy the breeze rather than sitting underneath this overhang all the time. So anyway, take a breath, check out, give me a like in the meantime, and I will, 10:15 now, I'll check in with you a bit later on and give you an update on where we are so far. Thanks for watching. Okay, so the back garden has actually been leveled off a bit more, so I'm going to go and get some big staples and get that put down in a minute. And we've also got some the new paint on the wall. So what do you think, guys? A or B? A or B? A or B? A or B? We've also just put some of the grey on the front of the house as well. So let's have a quick look how that's bedded. So there's the grey. This is a greeny grey. So again, now we're thinking about the house with the grey underneath and this on the floor and the steps, and the greeny grey on the actual on the guard wall. Let me know your thoughts on that, guys. There's obviously a lot of painting to be done because we painted all of the guard wall, and the guard wall goes all the way down, all the way around the whole house. So it's a lot of change, a lot of paint and a lot of change. The back of the garden looks a little bit better. It's still got some obviously lower patches here and some lower patches here, but in general it's a lot better. So we're in two minds as to whether to spray this with a weed killer and leave it for a bit longer, or whether to actually roll out the weed sheet. But I think the weed sheet is probably the best thing to do. The downside of putting weed sheet straight onto soil, obviously if it gets wet then it becomes very boggy and very messy. So we need to make a decision in the next couple of days. But either way, I've got to go and get the large staples, which are like just about that long, that obviously go into the floor to try and hold the actual sheet down. We're just about to obviously install the concrete board, so we're now just going to put that on the outside, and we've decided to get the other sheet up and actually cut those as well and put those underneath. So again, we're going to have to cut those 9 to 9.5 inches and re-screw those in, and then we'll fill those and finish those off ourselves. But again, like this one here, we'll overhang it like we have here, so that the actual mason can plaster straight down, and use this as a bit of an edge to finish off on, rather than running high around the corner. It can come straight down, and we'll finish this off with some outside filler and some paint. So that's what we're going to do, get that finished off this afternoon. So it's 2 o'clock now. We'll get that finished off, and I'll try and finish off the video a little bit later on when I check back in. In the meantime, don't forget to give me some subscriptions, anyone new watching the video. Any comments, any things that you suggest that I should be doing, get them in the comments below as well, and I'll update you as I go. Thank you. Okay, another day over, 6 p.m. Concrete board's up. So I've still got to get another bit for tomorrow underneath. The smooth concrete board gives a nice flush finish, which I don't want. I don't want the actual plaster to come around underneath. So we're going to get some new board tomorrow. I'm going to try and get that cut. Unfortunately, Coinmans can't cut the concrete board for me, which is a pain in the butt. So I'm going to have to go down there tomorrow with my handsaw. I'm going to have to cut it in the car park to get it in the car and bring it back. And the colours, I'm not too sure if I showed you these or not. Had a bit of a brain fart, so sorry about that. In this light, even if I have, I mean, you can see the lights makes it look a lot better. So it's a very grey green, and then we've also put a sample of the grey on the house. So this is called a grey green. So we're going to go with the dark grey all the way along the house. That's one thing we're going to do. We're going to get these redone as well, because these are blown as again. Can you believe it? So these 3 steps are going to have to come off and be redone, and then we'll restain those. And then we're going to go with this greeny grey on at least the front part here. All of this in and out, all of this in and out, all of this in and out. And then we'll decide what we're going to do on the front house as well. So yeah, looks good. This grey will run around the house, which means that we'll also cover the front. So this goes all the way down the house itself, then go around the front of the house and then around the whole swimming pool area as well. So it's darker, that's my only concern. But yeah, so it should look good. So mason is coming to plaster that tomorrow afternoon. So that will get done. Hopefully by then I have the concrete board and I have that installed as well. Then on the inside we'll get finished off the filling and sanding down. So we'll get all that sanded, that painted, all of this painted, the outside painted, all of the walls all the way around, inside and out done as well. And once that's done, then we can start looking at trying to fix the garage door buckle and get that put up as well. So yeah, the day over. Give me a like and subscribe in the meantime.
and I will probably load this tonight and do a new video tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Welcome to new subscribers, and I'll see you tomorrow.